Hello everyone, this is Shamal from Team PGSC, and we are back with another series where I basically try and use a deck that I really like and see how it performs against every other deck on Dueling Book as much as I can. Obviously, I know I've not been very active recently, but that's just because I started work, so I've not been able to juggle my time around with Yu-Gi-Oh and everything. I know the ban list has hit us quite hard with the Infernobles, but the new combo involving Cult Wing is actually really good. The one with Warbleran was alright. The only issue is people now know how to play against it, so I'm not really using that anymore. Cult Wing is the way to go for me. However, I thought instead of carrying on Infernoble Knights versus the World, I'd try and do something a bit more fun, just because we are, again, not really having enough real life events. So I thought I might give one of my favorite decks a go. It's actually my favorite deck of all time, which is Darklords. So before I actually start with this deck profile, I've not actually got the deck profile here. I'll put it on after I've gone through my replays. It's just a few things I have to mention about them, just to, for those of you who don't know what the cards do, very quickly. So there's a few we have here at the start, and these aren't really used in the deck anymore. Nurse Reficule was used for Burn. We don't really use that anymore. Her name was actually changed to Darklord. We have Asmodeus. Again, this is one of the older ones, but nobody uses it anymore. We have Darklord Desire. Again, one of the older ones, but we don't use it. We have Darklord ADRA. It just gives piercing, and only if it's special summoned from the grave. So again, you can tell it's an old card because its effects kind of mediocre. And then we also have Darklord Marie. And again, mediocre effect, so we don't play that either. Now these are the main deck monsters that we play. They're just ordered alphabetically, I believe. Yeah, so let's try and talk about it. So what do Darklords do? Darklords, what they are dark fairies. That's something they all have in common. And they're based on like devils and like Lucifer and all that. And if you look at the solemn cards like Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment and all that, it's the lady who's like on the forbidden cards as well. She's actually joined the Darklords as well, and it's basically them versus God, if you will. So yeah, if you look at Witch's Strike, then you see Condemned Witch on it, and then she turns into the Condemned Darklord. So there's a whole lore behind it, but I'm not going to go into too much detail into that. The basic things of Darklords are they like to spam the field and then try to destroy everything the opponent has, and then just attack for game, basically. The way they do that is by bringing themselves back from the grave, so kind of like going with the theme of falling from grace and then being reborn as evil fairies. So they love coming back from the grave, and they have effects when, well, one of them has an effect when it comes back from the grave, which basically allows the whole deck to kind of work. Their spells and traps are quite powerful. A lot of them are non-targeting, which is really, really good. And what they can do is, firstly, help you revive. They've got a Searcher, and then also just to take control, destroy, negate. So they have everything that they need. The only issue is they're within the traps. So the way this deck kind of mitigates that is by the monsters being able to copy the effects of the spells and traps, and that means you can use each spell and trap, at least twice in a turn. And that's what happened when the new ones came out. So yeah, I'll just go through some of the cards and we'll just talk about them. So Capricious Darklord is one of the newer ones. This one, during the main phase, you can activate this effect where you contribute summon one fairy face up, and that's really good because again, if you can't summon monsters enough from your grave, if you have them in your hand, you can still summon them out. And there's only one monster really that you want to be tribute summoning, and I'll go over that in a second. Another second effect is that when it's sent from the field to the grave, actually when it's just sent to the grave, I can make all monsters my opponent controls currently lose 500 attack and defense for each fairy on the field, and each effect is a hard once per turn. So this is one of the new ones. It's quite good, not gonna lie. Obviously you don't want to play too many copies because it doesn't do anything on its own. So that's that. Another one of the newer ones we have is Indulge Darklord. This one is really, really good. So here we have, if it's normal or special summoned, you can take 2 Darklord monsters from your hand or deck with different levels, except itself, and you special summon one of them to your opponent's field in defense, and you add the other to your hand. Also, you can activate monster effects for the rest of the turn except fairy monsters. So because they're all fairies, it kind of makes sense. This is really good. like absolutely amazing. The biggest problem with this deck was not being able to dump your fairies into the grave, which means not being able to access this one, my favorite Darklord. But again, Indulge is just so much for the deck. It's a normal summon, so the issue I had earlier was it didn't have a normal summon. Then Ukobak came along, but it did a bit, but not enough. But Indulge Darklord just literally does everything that you want it to do. It stops your opponent from activating Imperm or Gamma, basically, so it forces them out. And it also makes sure that you have exactly what you need in your hand to be able to carry on playing. So really, really good card. The only issue is it locks you into fairies for the rest of the turn, but if you play it well, you can kind of go around that anyway. Next we have Ukobak, another normal summon. This one, if it's normal or special, you can send a Darklord card from the deck to the grave. So it's like a Foolish Burial Goods with Foolish Burial as well. So anything you're missing in your grave, if you want to copy one of the spells or traps, you can send those. If you need a monster to reborn it, you can send that. So Ukobak has always been really good since it came out. Next we have Amdusk. Now Amdusk it's like magical excavation stone or whatever it's called. The one that you discard 2 spells and then you can add a spell from your grave to your hand. This one you can discard itself and a Darklord card and then target a Darklord card in the grave and add it to the hand. And then all of them, all the new ones anyway, the new high level ones, they have this effect, which is during either player's turn you can pay 1,000 life points, target a Darklord spell or trap in the grave, apply that target's effect. So the first part is the cost, targeting a Darklord card in the grave, spell trap in the grave, and then paying 1,000 life points as well. That's the cost. And then apply that target's effect, then shuffle that target into the deck. And the important part to note here is, even though all of them have a cost themselves, the cost changes to paying 1,000 life points. So for this one, for example, you'd have to send a Darklord card from your hand or face up from the field to the grave. You don't have to do that anymore. You just copy the effect. You're copying the effect, not the activation requirement. Amdusk is alright. I don't play it. Again, you're retrieving stuff, but in today's meta, it's a bit too slow. It doesn't do enough for you. Ixchel, best card in the deck. It's your draw power. You discard itself and another Darklord card. So anything over here, it can be another Ixchel as well. And you just draw 2. And again, this way you've set up your grave and you've also, gotten better cards in your hand. Hopefully something that can reborn them. So absolutely amazing, and obviously it's got the effect of the same one as Amdusk, being able to copy the spells and traps in the grave. An annoying thing they have is they can only be special summoned once per turn. So you can only special summon Ixchel once per turn, which is kind of annoying. It doesn't come up much, but when it does come up, it's annoying. Then we'll carry on with the other one. So we have Darklord Nastin. This guy special summons himself from hand, so he's quite good because not a lot of them can special summon themselves from hand, especially the high level ones, which means that they brick a lot. So this one stops you from bricking, but the summoning requirement is just way too steep for my liking. It's discarding 2 of the Darklord cards and special summoning this card. So if you were to activate this in hand, discard 2, your opponent activates Gamma, you just cry because you've lost 3 cards. 3 whole cards for no reason. And again, it can copy the effects. So, yeah, I used to play this. It was a really good card, but I think in today's day and age where you need to have as much resource management as possible, no, I've taken that out. Right, next we have Darklord Nergal, and again, this is one of the newer ones. It came out in Rise of the Duelist, I believe. And it's really good because it's a level 8, so we've been missing level 8s quite a bit. 2700 attack, 2500 defense. Now, Ixchel is good, but again, she's got high defense, but not so high attack. But she makes up for it for being an amazing card in general. This is a level 8, which is really good because, well, we're going to talk about them in a second, the high level monsters. Yeah, so level 8, really good. Its first effect is meh, kind of. It just does piercing damage. Well, it makes fairies do piercing damage. It kind of helps you with your OTKing strats, but again, it doesn't really come up. One of the more important effects is, again, a level 8, which can do the effect that all of them can, which is copying a spell trap by paying 1,000. One of the new ones, I think it's really good. Works really well with trading. And then we have Tezcatlipoca. This one, again, it's alright. It's got high attack stats, but it doesn't really do enough. Again, in today's meta. So if a Darklord monster I control will destroy a battle card effect, I can discard this card. It kind of protects, right? But again, you're discarding it from your hand, which is really annoying. Because, again, resource management is the name of the game at the moment. And then it has the other effect where it can copy the Darklord spells and traps. But I don't play this one. Superbia. Yes, Superbia is the one that gives you the cards that you need on the field. So when it's called a special summon from the graveyard, you can target a fairy in your grave, special summon it. Can be any fairy whatsoever. Any fairy. Which is basically your whole archetype. The only annoying thing is it says when, not if. So if I was to copy this card, which is Contact, which is the Monster Reborn basically, because the last thing happening is the card being shuffled into the deck, shuffle the target into the deck, right? Then shuffle the target into the deck, and not the monster actually being reborn when the effect is applied, then Superbia misses timing. That's the only annoying thing about this card, apart from it can't summon itself from the hand, or in any normal way, which is a kind of annoying thing, but it's really necessary because it helps you get out more monsters in the field so you can actually play properly. Secondly, we have Darklord Zerato. Again, this is quite nice. I really like this card. He's a board wipe of the deck, so if you have 4 more dark monsters with different names in your grave, you can tribute some of this card by tributing one dark monster. So again, being a level 8 kind of has that benefit of being able to summon himself out. And again, with Capricious Darklord, it works quite well if you have your graveyard set up. And then the other effect, which is really good, is you can send a dark monster from your hand to the grave, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. And then once per turn during the end phase, if this effect was activated, you destroy this card. So it's a Raigeki on legs. By sending a dark card from your hand to the grave. And yeah, it just blows everything up, which is quite nice, because then you can just attack for game, and then hopefully you won't care about the end phase, because you won't get there. And the final monster that we care about a lot is Darklord Morningstar. This guy's artwork as a secret rare looks absolutely phenomenal. Love him. Now this thing, this is so annoying. It can't be special summoned. It's the only Darklord monster that can't be special summoned, which is really annoying. Because if it's in the grave, well, you're not getting it unless you're playing bad cards like Amdusk. So, yeah, it's just really annoying. However, it's a really, really powerful card. It's one of the other ones that you want to tribute summon. When you tribute summon it, you can special summon Darklord monsters from your hand or deck, which is at grave as well, up to the number of effect monsters your opponent controls. That means, if your opponent has 4 monsters and you tribute summon this guy, you get to summon 4 more monsters. And it can be any of these guys, and obviously that's amazing. And while you control another Darklord monster, your opponent can't target this card. Now I wish it also said destroy. That would have been nice, or just having target protection in general. I mean, Dragoon can have it. Why can't my Morningstar? Once per turn, you can send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Darklord monsters on the field, and if you do, gain 500 life points for each Darklord card sent this way. So if I have him on the field and I have 4 of the Darklords, then I can activate his effect, send 5 cards from the top of my deck to the grave, and then for every Darklord card I gain 500 life points, and if there are any spells or traps among them, my monsters that are on the field can copy them. So really, really good card. Level 11, it does its job. It does what it's supposed to do. That's why you never really want to play more than one of it. And it's actually quite important with the new trap that came out, so we'll go over that in a second as well. Banishment of the Darklords. Now we've done with the monsters, we can go to the spells. Banishment of the Darklords, really, really good card. It's one of the best in the deck. Obviously, it's a searcher. Searches every single card in the deck apart from itself. And it's a hard once per turn, so, I mean, as they should be. Not everybody can have a tune table of contents. So, literally all it does is add a Darklord card from your deck to your hand. Definitely a 3 of. Then you have Darklord Contact, the monster reborn of the deck. Special summon a Darklord from your grave in defense. Again, really good because it doesn't target. So if your opponent has Call by the Grave and you activate Darklord Contact with 2 Darklords in your grave, if they call by the grave one of them, you just get the other one. So yes, they might know which one you're going for anyway, but it's really good to have this anyway. And again, it's a hard once per turn. But because these guys copy the effect and not the card itself, this you can only activate it once per turn. You're not activating the card, right? You're activating the effect of these monsters which copy the effect. And the effect is to special summon a Darklord from your grave. So you can do it as many times as you want. Well, as many as these will allow you, because they're all hard once per turns. But you can reborn a lot of stuff, which is really, really good. Then we have Darklord Descent. Okay, pay half your life points. See, this is why you want it in your grave, so you only pay 1,000 rather than half of your life points. Special summon up to 2 Darklord monsters from your graveyard in defense position with the same level as 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. So many restrictions. It's a horrible card. Especially when people don't really play levels. Well, with Link monsters, a lot of people don't play levels. And if they do play levels, those are probably negates, and you probably can't get this out anyway. And And these guys can only be special summoned once per turn, so it's basically a very bad card. Enchantment is really, really good. So you send a Darklord from your hand or face up on the field to the grave, and you take control of one face-up monster your opponent controls until the end phase. You can only activate one Darklord enchantment per turn. So again, non-targeting, taking control of a monster your opponent controls is really, really good, obviously. The cost is a bit steep, sending a Darklord from your hand or face-up field to the grave. I mean, I guess if you have board presence already, then it's fine. But I think it's the best is when it's in the grave and you just copy it. By paying 1,000 life points, you can take control of any monster your opponent controls. However, again, in today's day and age, you'd rather just get rid of the monster rather than taking control, and they'll probably negate that anyway. So unfortunately, I don't play this. It's a really good card, but you don't want to play too many traps because you'll just brick. Then we have Sanctified Darklord. This was a relatively recent one with In Flames of Destruction. Send a Darklord, again, they all basically have the same cost of sending a Darklord from your hand or face-up field to the grave as cost, and then you negate the effects of a face-up monster until the end of the turn, and you gain life points equal to its attack. So again, an absolutely amazing card, non-targeting, negate, and you gain life points. So when they're paying all their life points, it's good to get some life points back. And the funniest thing is, you could actually pay 1,000 life points and negate your own effect, so you'd gain 2,500 but lose 1,000. So if you were in time or something, that'd be a good way to get back with the life points. However, I believe it's still a bit too slow and it doesn't always do enough, so I don't play that. In my new build anyway. You'll see in some of my replays where I do play it. I'm going to try and not show too many replays in this one, or the deck profile actually, just because of time. I don't want you guys to be watching this for ages and ages and ages, so I just wanted to explain the deck first in this first pilot episode, and then I'll show you guys the replays in the next one. Well, most of the good ones anyway. I'll show a couple in this one. So we have Darklord Rebellion, right? Darklord Rebellion, this is the pop of the deck. Again, same cost. Then you get to destroy a card on the field. Any card. Now this is one of the better ones because it gets rid of back row as well. And the annoying part is this deck doesn't do well against a lot of back row decks, especially if they have stuff like there can be only one. Just basically stuff that will just stop you from doing things that you want to do. Back row cards are just kind of annoying anyway. So yeah. That's why we have this. Also, Mystic Mine is a thing, so being able to get rid of anything they have. Getting rid of monsters in general is just really good as well. And then finally, we have the new card, which is Darklord Uprising. Amazing artwork, love it. It's just a common, which is kind of annoying, but again, same cost. Fusion summon a dark monster from your extra deck using monster from your hand or field as fusion material. Then you can gain life points equal to the monster sent to the graveyard to activate this card. So, we're going to get to this in a second. We'll get to this in a second. First thing we have to do is look at what's going to summon. So we have the first Darklord. 3 Dark Fairies. Your opponent cannot target fairy monsters you control with card effects. So this is what Morningstar should have had. But sad times. You can only use one of the following effects per turn and only once that turn. I don't know why it has that restriction. If it's fusion summoned using Morningstar, that's why you have to play Morningstar. You can destroy all cards your opponent controls. It's pretty good. And during the main phase, quick effect, I can pay 1,000 life points, special summon a fairy from my hand or graveyard in defense. So if this summons Superbia, Superbia's effect can still go off because the last thing to happen was the Superbia being summoned. So that's what you're normally going to summon. Now think about this for a second. Darklord Uprising. You're sending a Darklord as cost. Then you need 3 more Dark Fairies to summon it out. That is 4 cards. That is 4 monsters you've used, and you've used this card as well. So you've used 5 cards to get out 1 card. That doesn't seem very good in my eyes. But if it's in the grave, then paying 1,000 life points kind of makes it better, but not really. I mean, I guess if you've got like Superbia or something that you're using as material for this, and Morningstar, so you can pop everything on the field, and then next turn you can summon back the Superbia and stuff. That's why I don't understand why each of them is a hard once per turn, isn't it? It's kind of bad. However, it does say Dark Fusion, so you can summon anything. You can summon Starving Venom if you wanted. You can summon Predaplant Grostopelia if you wanted. So, I mean, obviously, you wouldn't really do that in this deck, but any Dark Fusion works. The last card that I'm going to go over is Condemned Darklord, and this is their Link monster. Been waiting a long time for this, but now that it's out, it's really good. Requires 2 fairy monsters, so again, can be summoned with any of your 2 Darklords. This has got 3 really good effects. All of them are amazing. First one, you can tribute summon fairy monsters that require 2 tributes by banishing 2 monsters from your graveyard instead. So you don't need to use monsters on your field, which is really good because if you can summon out Morningstar, I mean, you can summon out Morningstar just by banishing 2 things and then just summoning a lot of stuff out. It's really, really good. Even your high level ones, if you have them in your hand, they're not bricks. You don't have to tribute monsters you control. Because you're going to use 2 fairies to summon this out anyway. Second effect is you can discard a card as cost, and then take a Darklord monster from your deck. I really wish it said card. Darklord monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the grave. So again, depending on what you need, you search whatever you need, and you get rid of your spells and traps, whatever you don't need in your hand, if you have multiple copies of it. And you can get basically Ixchel, which will help you to draw. A final effect, once per turn during my end phase, gain 5 life points for each fairy monster. So this was something that the deck was missing. Sanctified Darklord did it a bit, but this one does it a lot better. So yeah, it's really good. One card I haven't mentioned is Condemned Witch. So Condemned Witch, you might have noticed I kind of cut because I forgot to include it. But basically, Condemned Witch is one of those cards that goes well with the archetype. It's not a Darklord card, but it goes well with it because it's a fairy, level 4, dark. I played Ties of the Brethren in this build, in my build that I've been trying out because I want to go first. When this normal summon, you can add a Forbidden Quick Play spell from your deck to your hand. There's a really good one going around right now. And then during my opponent's main phase, I contribute this card, special summon a fairy from my deck. Well, that's amazing, isn't it? Because I can just summon out either of these two, whatever I need. And then I can go plus from there. So that's the plan anyway. So we're going to go over 1 or 2 replays. I know it's been a long time, so I'll try and reduce as much as if I don't need to say something, I won't say it. But the first match I thought I'd go up against is this. So we have Zodiacs. This guy's on a rating of 465, and I was 456 at the time. Let's see my hand. Okay, Allure of Darkness, a really good card in the deck. All of my monsters are Dark Fairies. I have Ties of the Brethren because I'm planning to go first. If I can get my, my level 4s, any of these guys, then all I need is one of them, and then I just Ties of the Brethren and get the other 2 out, and that's a pretty good setup. In this version, I was playing Sanctified Darklord because, well, it was one of my first builds. And then I have Ixchel. So if I was going first, this is a pretty good card because I can Ixchel, discard the Sanctified Darklord to draw 2, and then I can see what I get and Allure Darkness and stuff and try and get to my level 4s. I also have Droplets, which is quite nice. Forbidden Droplets, coincidentally. If you didn't know what the artwork was, it's the Condemned Darklord with Darklord Nastin. So again, it's pretty good how it works with the archetype as well. So that's why Condemned Witch is in the deck as well. I really like it when cards work together archetype-wise as well. Anyway, so we're playing against Zodiac. He's going first. This is the bane of my life if you're playing Darklords. So you normal summon the Thoroughblade, draws Barrage, must be nice. Goes 2, 3, 4, so really good playing around Nibiru. He sets a strike and passes. Now I'm thinking, okay, I don't care about the Dryden because I've got multiple Droplets. I just really want my Ixchel to go through, so what I do is instead of risking it and just losing completely, because I can't guarantee I'll draw an Allure of Darkness, because if he has like a Call by the Grave or anything that negates, that's not good. If he has an Ash especially. So Allure of Darkness is good as Ash bait. So I do Allure of Darkness, draw into 2 things. Oh, that's pretty good. I've got the Superbia. Then I use my Ixchel, discarding 2. He thinks, and he says, okay, I mean, drawing 2 is pretty good, not going to lie. And I draw one of my level 4s. Very good. So what I do is I normal summon my Capricious Darklord, activate Ties of the Brethren. Now I thought he was going to try and pop this, because if he does, then I don't think it resolves. But I would have had the Forbidden Droplet to get rid of that to get him to negate his effects anyway. I get out my Indulge on my Condemned. So this is a good setup because I can tribute summon this during his turn, or even now if I wanted. And I've got my Condemned Witch to be able to tribute during his turn. So he tries to pop my Condemned Witch, and I'm going to negate that. Now, I'm not sure if that was the best move. And the reason for that is because this is during the main phase. Now, he can try and do the effect again in the standby of the next turn, so I don't think that was a good move. And that's exactly what he does. So I'm just wasting so many resources on this. It's absolutely unreal. So again, resource management was the name of the game, but I'm just bad. Droplets is a really good card. I mean, I suppose I could maybe try Forbidden Chalice, but then I wouldn't have to send cards. But again, Droplets is just too good. So he does that. He sends the card combo. He tries to pop my enchantment. I could have let that go through in case I draw a low, but I don't know, I was just scared or something. So I activated that. And again, this was one of my first games, so obviously it's not the best thing, is it? Then end of main, I try to do that. He strikes it. I've got no cards left. He's got a barrage, impermanence. He's got his combo live as well, so he can get everything back that he needs. I draw into a. This is a really good card, so I would have been able to normal summon, get something on his field, and then also try and get something to hand. But unfortunately, he had the impermanence. So I just pass. He does combo. Try and get the Dryden back. So he draws Ash, and then he draws impermanence for turn. Uses barrage, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm literally top decking. This deck is really bad at top decking. I decided to go first. Okay, if I can set up my thing, it's really good. So I've opened double. Let's try and bait out the Ash first, and it baits it out. I've already had the spin droplet. Then I pay 2,000. Summon out my dudes. Sorry, my dudettes even. Set Rebellion, set that pass. Now he does have, and he says end of main. Now the good thing about Condemned Witch is it can summon out Indulged Darklord. So I use that effect. He didn't ash it because he didn't know I was going to summon. If he had ashed it, I would have been in big trouble. But because he didn't ash it, I summon out Indulged Darklord. That can summon. He says okay. I mean, I don't know why he did that. If he had ashed that, that would have also worked. But I gave him that. So now he can't evenly me. Uses Rapier. Goes into Hammer. Goes into Bobo. I'm thinking of summoning Bobo. Now what I want to do is just get rid of it. Because after he summoned Bobo, I was thinking, okay, he's probably going to go into... Because he doesn't have any engrave. He was probably going to go into Dryden next. I was like, okay, I'm going to try and pop it. Before he goes into something. So I'll just pop it. So yeah, I mean, he doesn't set anything. He just leaves his Forbidden Chalices. He's like, maybe I'm not going to use any effects. So, Ixchel, very good card. Again, Allure of Darkness, very nice bait, because now I can just use this effect to draw 2. Draw into Nibiru and Ixchel. So I was playing Nibiru because I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose automatically going second. Then I make the Condemned Darklord. Use its effect, ditching the Nibiru because it's not doing much, to add an Indulged. I can normal summon this by banishing 2. I think that was a bit of a mistake because I should have probably... Well, we'll find out. So I attack and then 1,600. End of battle phase. Is he going to use... Oh, he doesn't use evenly. Okay. I gain 1,000 because I'm controlling 2 fairies. He gets a Whiptail. It's pretty good. Now he decides to go into battle phase. Now I'm thinking, I could have used Ixchel's effect to target Rebellion and pop my own Condemned if I want to keep it, but I thought, you know what, all I need to do is get rid of his normal summon. So I waited. When he normal summoned, I paid 1,000, try and get rid of it, but he had the Chalice, so unfortunate. 2,900. And again, you can see it's kind of a big resource management game now because we both don't have a lot of cards that we're working with. He pops my monster, and then he just forgets to... I mean, okay, he doesn't forget to attack because he's evenly, but... so I've got another Indulge. It's really good. Because I want to bait out anything he wants because I've got the contact. I don't want him to destroy my cards. Right, brilliant, yeah. He's negating that. I try and attack over it just so I bait that out as well. He pops it, okay, and then I can play. So I get my Superbia. Get my Ixchel. Now this was a misplay on my part. I think I shouldn't have reborn this card. I should have. Yeah, I should have popped the Dryden because now you can just pop something in my turn, and it's just not good, is it? We're just gonna have to trade. But I gain 1,000 again, and keep on gaining life points is really good. He gets a strike. He uses it on my Ixchel. I use Ixchel, paying 1,000 to copy the Rebellion and to pop his card. Now you can use combo. Hopefully he doesn't draw any Zoo monster, because if he does, I'll be in trouble. And he draws Imperm. Right. So again, we're going into Grand Gear. Oh, I got the Banishment. Really good top deck. I get my Contact. I use Contact to bring back Superbia. Use the effect of Superbia and he Imperms it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Strike would have probably been better in my opinion, because now next turn I can attack him. End phase. Condemned Darklord gives me life points again. Gets another evenly. Get another Contact. Then use that. He strikes it, and I'm like, okay, I can stack the game now. So that was a good game. It's 1-1 now. Right, and this is where I'm playing trade-in as well, because you want them in your grave, don't you? So he opens, well, combo, Cyclone, Ice Dragon's Prison, and Barrage. Pretty good. He doesn't go into his plays, he just waits. Ice Dragon's Prison is really good against my deck, like really good. Go to M1, try and draw. I had it in Twin Twisters and evenly. So now I go Battle Phase, activate. He summons my Superbia out so that I can banish it, so I've lost 2 Superbias. He's got one more face down card, which is a Cyclone. So I set 2 cards. And he hits my Twin Twister. Fair enough. Tenki gets him to Rapier. Uses the effect. I really want him to go hard into this because I got the Nibiru. It's 1, 2, 3. Well, he's playing really well though. He's playing really well. It goes 4, and that's it. Now he's 400 attack and 2000 defense. He's got the another Ice Dragon's Prison. Not doing so well. I don't have any fairies in my grave, but we'll see. But I got Mixed Gel again. Best card. I can discard 2, draw 2. Get Indulged. That's why Indulged is so good. Draw 2, banish. So I've sided out my Ties of the Brethren package because I was going second. Normal summon effect. Doesn't have that. So I should have probably washed out for the Ice Dragon's Prison, but it's unfortunate. Then I add Contact. Effect special summon back. So again, here is where it was pretty good because I can thinking on summon, pay 1,000 life points, target Contact. Now, if he had just banished their target and my monster, I would have been very sad. But I get shuffled back in. I activate Zerato's effect. He changed to target my X-Shield, then he changed Ice Dragon Prison to summon my X-Shield that's in the grave and banish it and my Zerato. And I wasn't sure what he was doing, so I was just making sure that I knew what was going on. Yeah, and then I just attack. Zerato is really good at popping the whole field. Now he still has a Barrage. It's kind of annoying. So he uses Barrage. Summon out her. Now he wants to really go into that. Now the good thing is I have the Sanctified Darklord, so when I send Nurgle to negate him, because these things are the things that give it an effect, it will just die because it'll have 0 attack. We go through that. I get Rebellion. I'm just going to attack. It's just a lot of top decking. Then I set a card. He gets another Tenki. Broken. Keeps getting the best cards. Normal summons. I'm like, okay. I just want him to summon as much as he can because I know he doesn't have another combo in grave. And his Dryden's gone, so as long as I make sure he doesn't get his Dryden back, I should be fine. So he attacks, and I kind of have to get rid of it. He's still got Barrage, which is really annoying. Okay, I got the Twin Twisters, so I'm going to save that when he tries to use Barrage. Normal summon, okay, uses Barrage on Tenki. I get rid of those two. Cause I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter what he summons now. He goes for 1,200. Oh, sorry, 1,300 even. All I need is a Contact, and I'm good. Because I have the Superbia as well as Ixchil and Nurgle. Oh, and I get evenly. leveling the playing field. So getting rid of that. And my turn, he gets another tanky. I mean, how many tankies has he got? Again, this deck doesn't do well with top decking, but we'll see what happens. So he uses the effect to summon back that, and when I see 3 XYZ monsters, I'm just thinking to myself, oh no, Megaclops. So he goes into Megaclops, he attacks 4,000, and I'm thinking, okay, I have to, the only card that can help me is Banishment. Yeah, just Banishment. Banishment or Contact, because Banishment will get me to Contact, so any way to Contact and I win, because then I can just make an Xyz monster, and because I've got Nergal, so I can summon that, make an Xyz, and get rid of the Megaclops. And Heart of the Cards sometimes works. He says he hates me. Yeah, Heart of the Cards gets me Superbia. Superbia gets me Nergal. Overlay. I didn't think about like wasting too much time. I mean, I did waste a bit of time, but Dingirasu sends his thing to the grave. Then I summon the spiders, Pain Gainer on top of that, 7 Sins on top of that. This is just BM. Just flexing a bit. And I attack the game. Right. So I know this video's been a very long video, but I thought of talking about what the cards do and how I've decided to build it. In my next video, you will see exactly the list I was using in different replays, and then hopefully that will, we'll go up from there. But it has been performing relatively well, so hopefully I'll keep on doing that. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this series as well, because it's not really meta, but it's doing stuff against good decks. So Zodiac obviously is going to become a lot more strong in the coming format, but I thought of starting with this one. I've always wanted to have a Darklord deck, which is really good. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. I know it's been a very long video. If you're still here, kudos to you. Well done. Absolutely amazing. So with having said that, I'll see you guys in the next episode of Darklords versus the World. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.